Why do projects fail? Whether you are a certified professional or an accidental project manager, you must have heard and answered this question many times before. Indeed, for as long as I remember myself as project manager, this question has been extremely popular with the public at large. And indeed, every business publication has already offered some recommendations to that matter. But the success rate remains pretty low. In your opinion, what is the project success rate today? Make your educated guess. Is it 35, 55, 75%? Remember your option, and we'll get back to it shortly. But first, let's try to figure out what is the actual root cause of project failures and why has this root cause eluded us for such a long time. So why projects fail? As business and technology evolved, the question remained as is, only the definition of the project changed. Why tech projects fail, why software projects fail, why lean projects fail, why transformation projects fail. Even more remarkable, the reasons of failure that were cited over decades have not changed at all. For example, unrealistic expectations, wrong technology, scope creep, poor communication, and so on, and so on, and so on. And if you take a closer look at these causes, many, if not all, will be traced back to project management. And indeed, the failure of a project is often placed on the project manager. So let's add project management here. But being a certified recovering project manager myself, I have to defend the profession. Quite often, project manager is placed in a situation where he or she can do nothing about the project unless the sponsor of the project makes the right move and pays attention to this project. So we have to add senior management to the guilt loop and add lack of leadership. Indeed, according to research, the role of project sponsor is critical. It may determine up to 30% of the project success or failure. So what was your estimated project success rate? According to HBR, again, today project success rate is 35%, which means, in simple words, that 2 projects out of 3 fail. If our root cause analysis has been on the right track so far, we can safely conclude that the root cause of project failure is project management, and leadership in general. And now I have another question. How is that possible? Consider this. The project management methodology has been around for 100 years or so. The PMI Institute, as we know it, exists since 1969. The project management methodology has been developing all those years the infinite number of new project management methodologies and tools and buzzwords has been added to it, like agile, lean, scrum, you name your favorite, and all of them are added to the project management book of knowledge, which is now in its 7th edition. As for leadership, we have more information and more leadership development, trainings, and publication that anyone could be able to digest in a lifetime. Are we missing something big beyond the project management itself? Apparently, yes. Here is my take on the actual root cause of project failure. For centuries, our business was process-oriented and our organizations were hierarchically structured because we had no better example than the church or the army. Having a strict hierarchy made sense in the olden times because, among other things, it would ensure that the information is properly transmitted up and down the organization. But the shift of doing business by project, as opposed to continuous process, was a quantitative leap forward, and it helped to increase productivity in all the developed world big time. Many organizations have successfully updated their organizational structures, including project management offices, and achieving thus a major step change in productivity. However, most project managers were and still are trained in a very classic way, which is they are paying attention to the order of things and to the processes. Not surprisingly, quite a few of them come from the military. And I have worked with quite a few fantastic project managers who came from the military. This practice in turn added to the notion that project manager as a role is purely technical and very hard stuff based. It's all about figures, numbers, processes, actions, and so on and so forth. The soft side of doing business would normally be delegated to managers outside the project organizations. And those managers were altogether not necessarily better trained, because project managers and managers above them or around them come from the classical background, which is science, technology, engineering, finance, and they are used to quantifiable and easily measurable actions and results. For many years, for centuries, this approach to business was acceptable. But as of last century, with computers and internet and the IT in general, all those simple, countable actions, activities and measurements were taken over by the IT and the artificial intelligence, and more space and bandwidth was left to the soft side, which is not exactly unmeasurable, but is difficult to measure. And we could have taken more responsibility as managers for that side of business. But apparently we have not, or at least we are trying to catch up, but the technology is going ahead of us, leaving more and more to the computers, and there is a growing void in the soft area of project management. And it is this soft area of management is where the root cause of project failures is hidden. It has two sides. One is that managers, and project managers among them, are not trained and not expected to be focused on the soft side and unmeasurable, intangible side of business. External managers do not necessarily have more experience or willingness to measure the unmeasurable. And at the same time, all managers are driven by their classical background, as mentioned, in engineering, technology, military, finance, and so on. They tend to pay attention to tangible things and pay little attention to intangible things. And that's how it has been so far. Remember, you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Peter Drucker said that. And of course, soft aspects are hard to measure, but he never implied that you don't have to measure them. On the contrary, those who do measure them and manage them are winning and delivering projects better. Today, companies that balance the soft and the hard side of business are actually the ones who are ahead of the competition. Tomorrow, 99% of business effort will be in the soft stuff management. So what needs to be done today to achieve success tomorrow? To be a successful business tomorrow, you must make sure today that your people work towards the same outcome effectively and happily. And we must learn how to build teams that are aligned internally and with the purpose, mission, and shared values of your organization. Like fingers on your hand, they catch the ball without you telling them what to do. Similarly, the members of an aligned team work effectively without asking their boss or each other what is next. Purpose, mission, and shared values will effectively replace the job descriptions, and project managers in the future society of organizations will de facto be chief executives and general managers of their lean startups. And by definition, they will have a small but efficient team, and that's what will make projects successful.
So what?
I hear this question, so what? What do I do, and what should I do now if I am already responsible for an important project? How to measure culture and values and cultural alignment in real life. We will cover this point in part 2, which is called "Why do projects succeed?" See you soon!